I never used to think much about my gut. Not until I noticed the same pattern almost every day. Lunch, 20 good minutes. Then a wall. Heavy eyelids, foggy thinking, a stomach that felt like it was working overtime just to process a sandwich. Sound familiar? Here's what most people don't realize. Your gut isn't just a digestion tube. It's wired directly into your brain, your immune system, your mood, even how well you sleep. Researchers now call it the second brain, and when it's out of balance, the signals show up everywhere except where you'd expect. Not just your stomach, but your energy, your focus, your skin. The single biggest lever most people are missing is fiber. Not the powder in a scoop kind. Real fiber from real food. What's strange is that this isn't new information. Long before anyone had a microscope pointed at gut bacteria, the foods running through scripture were already doing this work quietly, in the background, meal after meal. In this list, we're covering 9 of them. Some are named directly in the Bible in genuinely dramatic scenes. A couple are here because they carry the exact same principle, even if they were never grown anywhere near the ancient Near East. Save the last one for the end. It's the food most people throw away without a second thought, and it may be doing more for your gut than anything else on this list. Quick note before we start. This is educational information, not medical advice. If you're managing a health condition, loop your doctor in before making big changes to your plate. Own avocados. If I had to recommend one food to someone eating almost no fiber who wants to start somewhere painless, it's this one. A single avocado holds close to 10 grams of fiber, more than a cup of chickpeas, more than a bowl of most whole grains, more than almost anything else you'd eat in one sitting. And it doesn't taste like you're doing something virtuous. It just tastes good. Avocados aren't part of the biblical world. They're native to Central America, and nobody in ancient Israel ever spread one on flatbread. But the principle behind them runs straight through Scripture. When Isaac blessed his son Jacob, he asked God to give him the fatness of the earth, rich, nourishing abundance straight from the ground. That's essentially what an avocado is. Fat and fiber packaged together the way nature intended, not stripped apart in a factory. Most of the fat in an avocado is oleic acid, the same monounsaturated fat found in olive oil, and it's mildly anti-inflammatory. But the fiber is the real headline. It's a mix of soluble and insoluble, and a study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people eating 1 avocado a day saw a measurable increase in the diversity of their gut bacteria, including more of the butyrate-producing strains that keep the intestinal lining strong. Diversity matters more than people realize. A gut with many different bacterial strains bounces back faster from a bad week of eating, a round of antibiotics, or a week of travel food. A gut running on just a few dominant strains is fragile by comparison. There's a bonus mechanism too. Because avocados bring fat and fiber to the table together, certain gut bacteria fermentation pathways get to run that need both ingredients present at once. Neither on its own does quite the same job. Beyond digestion, avocados carry more potassium than a banana, plus folate, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Because the fat is there, your body also absorbs more of the fat-soluble vitamins from whatever else is on your plate, like the beta-carotene sitting in a side salad. Use it however you already eat it. Toast, salad, blended into a smoothie, or just a spoon and some salt. Just don't peel it too far ahead of time. That green flesh browns fast once it hits air. One quiet shift worth knowing before you move on. Nearly every avocado sold today is a single variety, the Hass, prized for shipping well and ripening predictably. Dozens of other varieties, some milder, some larger, used to be far more common in home orchards before commercial farming narrowed the shelf down to one dominant type. Now here's a food whose backstory is dramatic enough that it split a family down the middle. Lentils. Few foods in Scripture come with a story this loaded. In Genesis, Esau walks in from the field starving and sells his entire birthright, his inheritance, his place as firstborn, for a bowl of red stew his brother Jacob had cooked. That stew was lentils. One meal, traded for something that mattered far more, remembered for it thousands of years later. Lentils weren't only a poor man's food, either. When David fled Jerusalem during his son Absalom's rebellion, supporters met him in the wilderness with supplies to keep his people alive. Wheat, barley, beans, and lentils among them. And the prophet Ezekiel was told to bake a symbolic bread from 6 ingredients together: wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt. A recipe meant to represent survival through famine. There's a reason lentils show up wherever people needed to survive on very little. One cooked cup delivers around 15 grams of fiber, more than almost any food on this list, alongside a serious dose of plant protein and iron. A meaningful share of that fiber is resistant starch, which your small intestine can't break down. It travels intact to your colon, where bacteria ferment it into butyrate and other short-chain fatty acids that feed and repair your intestinal lining. Because lentils digest slowly, they also blunt the blood sugar spike you'd otherwise get from a carb-heavy meal, part of why they've been shown to help steady energy for hours afterward, not just minutes. For your heart, that fiber binds to cholesterol in your digestive tract and helps carry it out of the body, the same mechanism you'll hear about with several other foods on this list. Regular legume eaters tend to show meaningfully lower LDL cholesterol over time. Try this one in a simple soup. Lentils, a chopped onion, a bit of cumin, and enough broth to cover. Simmered for 30 minutes, until soft. That's essentially the entire dish, and it holds up as a full meal on its own. One thing worth knowing: the lentils grown in the ancient world were whole, seed coat intact. A lot of what's sold today, especially red lentils, has been split and had the skin removed, which cooks faster but sheds a little fiber along the way. If you want the fuller benefit, keep a bag of whole green or brown lentils around alongside the quick-cooking red ones. Have you ever noticed how a pot of lentil soup can feel like more than just a meal? There's a reason that stew was worth fighting over. Lentils were fought over. This next food just grew wild along the hillsides, free for anyone who reached for it. 3. Raspberries. Cup for cup, raspberries beat almost every other fruit on the fiber scale. 1 cup gets you around 8 grams, a genuinely rare number for something that fits in your palm and tastes like dessert. Raspberries and their wild bramble relatives grew freely across the hillsides of the ancient Near East and the wider Mediterranean world. Scripture doesn't name them directly, but they belong to the same landscape as the fig trees and grapevines that get mentioned constantly, the wild foraged abundance of a fertile land. What makes raspberries so effective for gut health is how the fiber types work together. The soluble portion forms that familiar gel, slowing digestion and feeding beneficial bacteria. The insoluble portion adds bulk and keeps things moving at a healthy pace. Few fruits deliver both in this kind of ratio. Then there are the polyphenols. Raspberries are loaded with elagitannins and anthocyanins, the compounds behind that deep red color. And researchers found these plant chemicals do something fairly specific in the gut. They selectively feed beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, while making conditions tougher for less helpful species to thrive. It's not just fiber passing through. It's an active shift in who's living in your colon. Raspberries also carry more vitamin C than you'd expect, over half a day's need in a single cup, supporting immune function and helping your body absorb iron from other foods eaten in the same meal. Despite tasting sweet, they're relatively low in sugar compared to most fruit, a solid choice if you're watching blood sugar. Fresh or frozen, both work here, and frozen doesn't lose the fiber. So don't feel like you need fresh berries out of season at premium prices. A handful stirred into plain yogurt is about as low effort as healthy eating gets. The wild raspberries that grew across ancient hillsides were smaller and more tart than what you'll find in a supermarket clamshell today. Centuries of cultivation pushed the modern version toward bigger, sweeter, easier to grow at scale, but some research suggests the smaller wild varieties may actually carry a higher concentration of those protective polyphenols pound for pound. Bigger isn't always better. It's just more convenient. There's a vegetable further down this list that actually changes its own chemistry after you cook it. It's up next. 4. Sweet potato. Here's something that sounds like a kitchen myth, but is actually documented science. A sweet potato becomes more beneficial for your gut after you cook it, let it cool, and eat it cold or reheated, compared to eating it hot, straight off the stove. Sweet potatoes aren't named specifically in scripture, but root vegetables of all kinds were a backbone of agricultural life across the ancient Near East, dug up, stored through winter, and relied on when other crops failed. The specific tuber is different, but the role it played in the ancient diet is exactly what this vegetable still offers today. A medium sweet potato gives you around 4 to 5 grams of fiber, split between soluble and insoluble, covering the basics: softer stool, more bulk, steady movement through your colon. The more interesting story is its resistant starch. When you cook a sweet potato and let it cool in the refrigerator, the starch structure physically changes. It becomes harder for your digestive enzymes to break down in the small intestine, so more of it survives the trip to your colon intact, where gut bacteria ferment it into butyrate. Reheating it gently afterward doesn't undo this change. You genuinely get more resistant starch benefit from a sweet potato that's been cooked, cooled, then eaten than from one eaten piping hot. Research tracking regular sweet potato eaters has found measurable shifts toward more beneficial gut bacteria within about a month of consistent eating. Beyond the gut, sweet potatoes are one of the richest sources of beta-carotene in the produce aisle, the orange pigment your body converts into vitamin A. Vitamin A isn't only about eyesight. It's essential for keeping your mucous membranes intact, and that includes the lining of your gut itself. So this food supports your intestinal wall from 2 directions at once: fiber on one side, vitamin A on the other. I'll admit, I used to think meal prepping sweet potatoes ahead and eating them cold from the fridge was just a convenience shortcut. Turns out, it was accidentally the smarter choice the whole time. Try roasting a batch, refrigerating what's left, and adding cold cubes to a salad the next day, instead of microwaving straight through. Worth knowing too, the deep orange sweet potatoes common in stores today are largely the product of decades of breeding aimed at boosting beta-carotene. Specifically, older, paler-fleshed varieties still exist in many parts of the world and are still nutritious, just with a milder color and a slightly different balance of nutrients. Long before refrigerators existed, a different food was already being packed as a gift fit for a foreign ruler. 5. Almonds. Twice in Scripture, almonds show up in moments that matter. When Jacob sends his sons back to Egypt during the famine, desperate to secure grain and win favor with the powerful stranger, who turns out to be his own son Joseph, he tells them to pack the best products of the land as a gift. Almonds make the list, alongside spices and myrrh, considered valuable enough to present to a ruler. Later, in the book of Numbers, Aaron's staff is placed overnight among the staffs of the other tribal leaders as a sign confirming the priesthood. By morning, it hasn't just sprouted. It has budded, blossomed, and produced ripe almonds all at once on a dead stick. The almond blossom became a lasting symbol in Jewish tradition after that, later echoed in the menorah designs described in Exodus. As a gut food, almonds work through a combination most people don't expect from a nut. 1 ounce, a small handful, gives you roughly 3.5 grams of fiber. The more interesting effect is what happens with the skin. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that eating almonds regularly increased populations of bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, 2 of the most studied beneficial bacteria genera in the gut. The compounds responsible are polyphenols, concentrated almost entirely in the almond's thin brown skin. They pass through your small intestine, undigested, and reach your colon intact, acting like a targeted food source for the bacteria you want more of. Beyond the gut, almonds bring vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that protects your cell membranes, along with magnesium, a mineral most adults past middle age are quietly running low on. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation, nerve function, and better sleep. A small handful of raw or dry roasted almonds makes an easy daily habit. Just watch the portion. It's easy to eat through a whole bag without noticing, and almonds are calorie-dense enough that it adds up fast. Here's the comparison worth remembering. Blanched almonds, the pale ones with the skin removed, common in baking aisles and some snack packs, deliver noticeably less of this specific gut benefit than the whole, unpeeled version. Same nut, meaningfully different effect, based entirely on one processing step. If gut health is the goal, buy them whole, skin on. If almonds impressed you, wait until you hear how far back the next food's history actually goes. 6. Chickpeas. 10,000 years. That's roughly how far archaeologists have traced chickpeas being deliberately grown and eaten in the Middle East, making them one of the oldest cultivated foods still sitting on your grocery shelf. They run through Jewish, Roman, and Greek dietary traditions from the ancient world, ground into flour, roasted whole as a snack, or simmered into thick stews that served as the entire meal, not a side dish tucked beside something more important. The reason chickpeas earned that staying power is the same reason your gut responds to them now. A cup of cooked chickpeas holds somewhere between 12 and 15 grams of fiber, a large share of it soluble, meaning it dissolves in water and thickens into a gel as it travels through your digestive tract. Picture that gel doing 3 jobs at once: coating your intestinal walls, softening stool, and feeding the bacteria living in your colon. When those bacteria break the fiber down, they produce short-chain fatty acids, and the most important one, butyrate, functions almost like fuel for the cells lining your colon, keeping that lining strong and reducing inflammation that can otherwise build toward issues like leaky gut. Chickpeas also carry resistant starch, which slips past digestion in your small intestine and arrives in your colon, mostly intact. Research has connected this process to hormones that help regulate blood sugar after eating, which matters whether or not you're managing diabetes. Steadier. Blood sugar just means steadier energy. For your heart, that same soluble fiber, binds to cholesterol in your gut and helps carry it out, and regular legume eaters consistently show lower LDL cholesterol in studies. Chickpeas are naturally cholesterol-free, low in sodium on their own, and a genuinely solid source of plant protein. One practical note: if chickpeas aren't already a regular part of your diet, adding a large amount all at once can bring some gas or bloating while your gut bacteria adjust. That's normal and temporary. Start with a modest serving, maybe a half cup, and build from there over a couple of weeks. If you've only ever had chickpeas straight from a can dumped onto a salad, try roasting them with olive oil and salt until crisp. It's a different food entirely. Once it's crisped up, just rinse the canned ones first. A fair amount of sodium sits in that liquid, a small but real difference from the plain, home-simmered chickpeas people would have eaten in the ancient world. Chickpeas were a meal on their own. This next food works differently. It barely announces itself, yet it shows up in 3 completely separate, unexpected biblical scenes. 7. Flaxseed. Flax gets a surprising amount of airtime in Scripture for such a small seed. When the plague of hail strikes Egypt in Exodus, the text specifically notes that the flax and barley crops were destroyed because they were already grown, while the wheat and spelt survived untouched, ripening later in the season. Later, in Joshua, Rahab hides the Israelite spies on her rooftop under stalks of flax drying in the sun. And in Proverbs, the description of an excellent wife includes that she works with her hands to spin wool and flax into cloth. Flax was clothing, cover, and food all at once in the ancient world, and the seed itself carries a kind of layered benefit that's rare to find in one place. It works on the gut through 3 separate mechanisms. First, both its soluble and insoluble fiber show up in real quantity. The soluble fiber turns gummy and gel-like on contact with water, softening stool and slowing digestion, while the insoluble fiber adds bulk and keeps waste moving efficiently. Together they handle constipation and loose a stool from opposite directions. Second, flaxseed is one of the richest known sources of lignans, plant compounds with antioxidant properties that your gut bacteria convert into forms that appear to help protect your intestinal lining from everyday wear. Third, flaxseed delivers alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fat with anti-inflammatory effects, meaningful because so much gut trouble traces back to low-grade chronic inflammation. For your heart, a randomized trial found that eating ground flaxseed daily for 6 months meaningfully lowered both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, a strong enough result to stand out in the nutrition research world. 1 to 2 tablespoons a day, stirred into oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie, is the amount most research centers on. It has almost no flavor of its own, so it disappears into whatever you're already making. Here's the catch, though. Whole flax seeds mostly pass straight through your digestive system intact. You'll get some fiber benefit, but miss most of the omega-3s and lignans locked inside the seed's hard shell. Buy them pre-ground or grind them yourself in a small coffee grinder and store them in the fridge, since ground flax turns rancid faster than whole seeds. Whole seeds keep almost indefinitely in the pantry. Ground flax is a fridge item from day one. Quick question. When's the last time you checked whether the flaxseed in your pantry is whole or ground? Worth a look before your next spoonful. 8. Figs. What's the one fruit that gets cursed, gifted, and turned into a symbol of peace, all within the same book? Figs are everywhere in Scripture, and not just as background scenery. They're one of the 7 species named in Deuteronomy as a defining gift of the Promised Land, alongside wheat, barley, grapes, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey. When spies scout Canaan in the Book of Numbers, they bring back figs and pomegranates as proof of the land's richness. When Abigail rushes to intercept David and stop a massacre, part of what she brings him includes cakes of pressed figs. And in one of the more striking gospel moments, Jesus curses a fig tree he finds barren out of season, loaded with symbolic weight about fruitfulness and readiness. Centuries earlier, the prophet Micah pictured peace itself as every man sitting under his own vine and his own fig tree. Figs also carry one of the oldest reputations as a digestive aid of any fruit in recorded history, and that reputation holds up. A quarter cup of dried figs delivers close to 4 grams of fiber, a genuinely high number for a fruit, split between soluble and insoluble types. Figs also contain phycin, a natural enzyme that helps break down protein, similar in function to the papain found in papaya, part of why fig-based remedies for sluggish digestion have persisted across so many cultures for so long. That fiber acts as a prebiotic once it reaches your colon, feeding beneficial bacteria there, and figs bring something unusual for a fruit: a meaningful amount of calcium and potassium in the same bite. Calcium supports bone health, something most fruits contribute almost nothing toward, and potassium supports healthy blood pressure. Eat them on their own, chopped into oatmeal, or paired with a handful of almonds for a snack that wouldn't look out of place on a table 3,000 years ago. Fresh figs are delicate and only available for a short window each year, exactly why the dried version became the practical staple across the ancient world. Storable through winter, eaten months later, without spoiling. Today's dried figs are sometimes treated with sulfur dioxide for color, or packed with added sugar syrup, neither of which the original sun-dried version ever had. For something closer to what would have been eaten in the ancient world, look for unsulfured dried figs, with nothing added beyond the fruit itself. 8 foods in, and each one has an obvious reputation. The 9th doesn't, and that's exactly the point. 9. Cabbage. No dramatic backstory. No mention by name in scripture. Just a plain, unglamorous vegetable grown across the ancient world for thousands of years, sitting quietly at the bottom of the produce aisle, while flashier vegetables get all the attention, and that's exactly why it belongs last on this list. Cabbage might be one of the single most effective gut-restoring foods you can buy, and almost nobody treats it that way. Raw cabbage on its own is already solid. A cup gives you around 2 to 2.5 grams of insoluble fiber, along with vitamin C, vitamin K, and folate. It also contains glucosinolates, compounds your gut bacteria convert into substances with real protective potential against colorectal cancer risk. But fermented cabbage, sauerkraut, is where this vegetable stops being ordinary. A 2025 study out of the University of California, Davis, found that fermented cabbage protected intestinal cells from inflammation-related damage by roughly 40%. That's not a rounding error improvement for something this simple and this cheap. Fermentation transforms cabbage at a chemical level. Naturally occurring bacteria on the cabbage's surface break down its sugars over time, producing lactic acid, amino acids, and a wide range of other beneficial compounds that simply weren't present in the raw vegetable. Researchers behind that study identified hundreds of distinct metabolites created through this process. What you end up with is a rare combination: fiber, live probiotic bacteria, and postbiotics, the compounds those bacteria leave behind, all in the same forkful. The study found homemade and store-bought sauerkraut performed equally well, so there's no need to ferment your own unless you want to. Just look for raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut in the refrigerated section, not the shelf-stable canned version, which has been heat-treated and no longer contains living bacteria. One caution: store-bought sauerkraut can run high in sodium, so treat it as a topping, a few forkfuls alongside a meal, rather than a full side dish, especially if you're watching blood pressure. Here's the quiet irony. Ancient people fermented cabbage out of necessity, a way to preserve food through winter before refrigeration existed. They weren't chasing gut bacteria diversity. They were just trying not to starve. It took thousands of years and a modern microbiology lab to prove that the preservation method they stumbled into was doing something far more sophisticated than simply keeping food edible. 9 foods. All of them tied in some way to the ground the biblical world was built on, whether by direct mention or by the same principle of simple, whole, unprocessed nourishment. None of them require a powder, a pill, or anything complicated. That's sort of the point. If there's one thing worth carrying away from this, it's that your gut is listening to every meal you feed it. Not in a dramatic, immediate way, in a slow, cumulative one. Every plate either feeds the bacteria working in your favor or starves them out, one meal at a time. The people living through the events described in Genesis, Ezekiel, or the Gospels had no idea what a microbiome was. They didn't know what butyrate did or why fermentation worked. They just knew, through generations of trial and consequence, which foods kept them strong and which ones didn't. Science has spent the last few decades catching up to explain why. You don't need to overhaul everything this week. Pick 2 or 3 foods from this list, whichever sound the most doable, and build from there. Give your gut a few weeks to adjust if you're not used to eating much fiber. Some bloating or gas at first is normal and temporary. Drink more water than usual while you do it, since fiber needs water to actually do its job. I'll leave you with the same question I keep asking myself lately. Out of everything on your plate this week, how much of it actually came from the ground, whole, the way it grew? For most of us, probably less than we'd like to admit. That's a good place to start. If this list gave you even one thing worth trying this week, a like helps more than you'd think, and sharing it with someone who's always tired or always bloated might be exactly the nudge they need. Let me know in the comments which of these 9 surprised you the most, and subscribe if you want more videos like this one.